Hi everybody, it's Jill Starr again. For all my friends, I apologize for being in a pretty bad mood today, but I'm a pain patient, and unfortunately pain patients can tell when they get generic medicines or not because they're in pain. And Sunday I went to fill my regular pain patch medicine. It's these Fentanyl patches I had a picture of here. They're for unbearable pain and cancer type pain, which I have. Although I don't have cancer, I have degenerative disc disease and some other problems. I went to the Wayne Pharmacy in Killen, New Jersey, and they have a part-time employee named Eliza, who's a pharmacist and a bitch. Anyway, she's been very nasty and rude to me before. I went and I gave her my prescription for my pain medicine, and she looks at me and she goes, quote, "There's a pain patch shortage of penicillin in the state of New Jersey. We don't have any, but maybe I can get you these." And she gave me this brand I never had before, never seen before in my life. And ever since 30 minutes after I put it on, I've been in terrible, terrible, unbearable pain. I feel like I have to go to Chilton, the local hospital, because he can't take them back or fill them because I threw the boxes away unless I have another prescription. So I'm trying to get by till Friday. And it was just a very terrible, unfortunate thing to happen. I mean, why would a pharmacist make up such a story? She doesn't own the pharmacy. She's not going to make any money off me more than she's just getting salary. She's not the owner. She just lied to me. She could have said, you can pay for the brand name, which I really don't have to. The owner said today there was no reason for her to treat me like that. I think she should be fired, and I suggest the management there and the owner, George, does fire her because it is not the first time she's been extremely rude and obnoxious to me. I'm a disabled person. Let me get right back to the main point here, which is I'm going to continue with the reading of my book, What It's Like to Chill Out with Ratko MLadic, and Goran Hadjic, Confessions of a Female War Crimes Investigator, where I left off. Let's see. Even prior completing our work, our meaning Darko Trifinovic and I, our work together on the Al Qaeda book, The Bosnian Model of Al Qaeda Terrorism, modus operandi. Darko, it became rightly obsessed with manifesting the Bosnian chief ambassador at that time as a terrorist and Al Qaeda participant, which he was, because he himself confessed that to the State Department, United States Department of State, post 9/11, and he was sent out of the country. America persona non grata, which in diplomatic terms means get the hell out and never come back. He confessed to being giving Osama bin Laden the passport to go through Italy, where he was previously stationed as a diplomat in 1993. So he was sent booted out of the country, rightly so. So Darko and I became involved in exposing him for his true self as a terrorist working at the Bosnian mission, along with the other Al Qaeda person, agent working there under a fake Bosnian name, who I posted the picture of, Kadovic. Okay, where am I here? At that time, I had no reason to doubt Darko's word, and I assisted him in rapidly writing and completing an open letter to all the United Nations member state missions exposing the Bosnian ambassador, chief ambassador, as such, Al Qaeda terrorist, which he was. I surmise that is when Darko's job at the United Nations as first secretary of the Bosnian mission became jeopardized. A few weeks later, he was told that he was fired and he was sent out. The people that were in charge of the Bosnian mission, and also back in Bosnia, I believe the rotating presidency in Bosnia at the time was Muslim, and there were a lot of Muslims in the management at the time at the Bosnian mission, if I remember correctly, and that's the reason they fired him, because he exposed the truth that there was Al Qaeda people working at the Bosnian mission, and this was a threat to the United States national security. And there was a court case recently in Bosnia that proved that Darko did not lie about his citizenship, and he did the right thing, and he was in the right. So don't listen to what that person Richard says about Darko. He did not say kill them all. All right, let's get on topic here. Today, I surmise Darko's employment at the United Nations mission, and now I know it, became compromised owing not only to the inter-ethnic conflicts existing between him and the head ambassador then, a proud Muslim man and Al Qaeda agent, but also owing to the fact at that time they said that he had forged a birth certificate to acquire his position in the first place, later becoming a social fact from the Interior Ministry in Bosnia to work out the matter in courts. Like I said, recently it was settled that Darko didn't lie, but for a long time, and Darko even told me once, I don't remember exactly, it was like 10 years ago, that he had forged something, or there was some problem with where he was born, whether it was Serbia or Bosnia, when he applied for the diplomatic position. Anyway, the topic, let's get back on some important stuff here. It was an emotional shock for me when Darko informed me by summer 2001 that he had lost his job, and he and his wife Brianna had to immediately return within 3 weeks, within the month, back to Belgrade to work out the matter in court. He was sent $5,000, which I drove him to the bank to get, and he had to pack up and leave because the Muslims didn't like he was exposing the cheap guys into Al Qaeda person. It was an emotional shock to me because I was very infatuated and in love with Darko, I confess. This was a great emotional blow to me also, owing to the fact that I always had a crush on Darko, and he knew it. I told him so. This was a social fact I never publicly admitted previously to writing this book, but Darko knows I once did ask him when he was married to Boyana if he would have an affair with me, but he did decline, saying that he would never be unfaithful to his beautiful wife Boyana, and I understood. This left me in an extreme morally uncomfortable position because Boyana was also my best friend and I loved her dearly. I continually told myself being attracted to her husband, Darko, was not an option because I was an Orthodox Christian. Working so closely with him on almost a daily basis and working at his house overnight made my attraction to him increasingly difficult to overcome. We later did end up having a little fling at one time in 2004 or 5 when he visited, but that was that. Anyway, I was also engaged to Professor Arnold Stark at that time period and wore the $10,000 engagement ring he bought me on my finger. At the time I was in Serbia and Montenegro, I also wore that $10,000 engagement ring in Darko at Japan. Everyone saw it that knew me. Arnold and I broke up after I returned because Arnold hates Serbia. He hates Serbian people, and he said that it was worse than cheating on him. I was a traitor by going to Serbia and helping Serbia in any way, and he didn't want anything to do with me. He made me suffer and starve, and I had to eventually, after throwing the ring at him several times and going back to look for it and several arguments, I found out Arnold himself had lied to me about his age. He said he was 50 and he was really born in 1932 and close to 80. And I had to sell the ring for $200 food money at Jack and Genesis pawn shop in Wayne, New Jersey. Arnold became increasingly jealous of Darko at the same time and eventually forbid me to work at the United Nations or with him altogether. Notwithstanding, I continued my work with Darko against Arnold's wishes. This, coupled with my trip to Serbia and Montenegro in 2002, eventually led to my breakup altogether with Professor Arnold Stark. And after almost an entire decade, my relation with Arnold never fully recovered, as you can tell if you're a friend on my Facebook website and my other sites, you can certainly tell how much we bicker. It's not healthy, and I don't know what to do about that relationship now, but we have managed to barely remain friends at this point. Darko and I tried keeping his job in Darko tried to keep his job best he could in diplomatic capacity at the United Nations as long as possible, but the bipolar friction and hate existing between himself and the chief ambassador at the mission proved too much. The chief ambassador, in contact with the Bosnian government at the time in Sarajevo, eventually had Darko dismissed as first secretary at the mission. To the best of my recollection, Darko was no longer receiving a monthly salary from Sarajevo by spring or summer 2002 approximately. I often came visiting Darko and Boyana's apartment in Manhattan, then situated on a side street within walking distance from the United Nations, to help them out financially by buying them inexpensive dinners and such when they needed it and didn't have much money in Manhattan, and I helped by chauffeuring them around the city, owing to that they did not have a car also the majority of the time. By July 2002, as I remember it, the three of us had spent many memorable moments going to the beaches outside the city and just spending time talking, etc. At that time, and owing to my being in graduate school at Fairleigh Dickinson at the time, after being thrown out of the New School for Social Research for my anti-NATO views, I had plenty of extra money to burn owing to my taking the maximum GSL student loans out and Arnold giving me maybe $1,000 cash a day because the economy was good and he was earning great, like thousands and thousands, $20,000 a month in interest on his investments. This has certainly changed, and I hardly have nothing now, as many of Mr. Stark's friends and billionaires have lost $24 billion in half their income and investments also. At the time, and oh yeah, I had lots of money then. Then one day that summer, Darko informed me that he and Bojana were only awaiting the Bosnian government to wire them the sum of $5,000 to pay off their American bills, and then they would have to make a hasty retreat back to Belgrade permanently. I was emotionally crushed. Desperate not to lose contact with Darko because of my personal feelings towards him, I told him my summer classes at Fairleigh Dickinson University in Hackensack, New Jersey were about to end in August 2002, and although the fall semester was about to begin, I wanted to visit him in Serbia as soon as possible. Soon for me meant as soon as I received my check from the United States government for the total of the semester's student loan money I would receive in the amount of about $10,000. Darko was hesitant at first, but soon gave in to my constant petitions to visit him. The day I brought them to JFK to return to Serbia permanently, Bojana whispered something in Darko's ear as we hugged, saying our goodbyes. I think it was to let Jill come, since I'd done so much for them. We were very close, all of us, notwithstanding. All three of us tried to hold back our tears of parting, and Darko looked me in the eye and said something to the effect, quote, Jill, don't worry. As soon as you can afford to get your student loan money, contact me and we will arrange for your visit to Serbia. Darko never could stand to see me cry, which on many occasions I did, owing to the loss of my own 2 children. I did not even know he had a child till he sent me the picture posted on my book, and he sent me a very emotional email stating that when he was called up on the draft to go to serve in the war in Bosnia. He was so upset that he thought he would never see his daughter again, and that's why I posted the picture. I felt I could relate to how he felt, never going to serve in the army and never knowing if he would be shot and killed and never see his daughter again. I only recently found out 6 months ago when I saw this picture in his email when we were talking that he even had a child. And then I found out he also has a beautiful daughter in college. I hope, Darko, I apologize if you're pissed at me, and I hope that you'll become my friend again, and we can get over this, whatever you're angry at me about this book. I'm sorry if I offended you in any way. I certainly didn't mean to. So they turned and they boarded their plane to Belgrade as I drove back to New Jersey. I'll stop here. Everything I've said is true, and that's all I can say. I hope you're enjoying this. It's very interesting, and I believe someone at the United Nations had told me a year ago when they came up to buy one of the Al-Qaeda books for $150 I had on eBay from the United Nations University that I was one of the only women to ever meet with Ratko, MLadic, Karadzic, and Goran Hadjic in the past decade or ever from a Western country. So I feel proud of that. And I will have to say, with all my problems here, being disrespected by pharmacists and colleges and even people I'm engaged to in America, no one has ever treated me with more respect than the Serbian people, Ratko Mladic, Karadzic, and Goran Hadjic. They treated me like family. Darko invited me to his family, and I will be eternally grateful always to the Serbian people for treating me in such a way, like family. God bless them all, and God bless Serbia. Good night. I also have to stop for tonight, unfortunately, because I'm in terrible pain. I have to try to get by till Friday, unfortunately, because that bitch Liza at the Lynn Pharmacy killing. Please pray for me. Thank you. God bless.